Soundstripe. Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
Welcome in, everybody, to Lock In Live College Football Week 12 edition with Uncle Phil and Smooth Andy. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this Saturday morning. Really appreciate it that you're here. Uncle Phil, Smooth Andy, how are you guys doing?
Good, man. It's a good week. Got the week off right with a Thursday night play, primetime teaser. Wouldn't have it any other way that it hit in the final seconds after we just knew it was cooked, but it actually ended up going well. So, look, excited about college football. Last week, the Notebook got off to a really hot start, went 4-0, and then went 0-4 in my last one. I love my picks today. Tried some different things last week. Didn't work out on the back end of the picks. Sticking back to my original formula. Going to have a winning day today. Smooth Andy, how about yourself, man?
Coming off a 6-5 week, so not great, but not terrible by any stretch. My top two bets today are going to be I hate both of them, but I'm going to be on them. So that's it. That's the way it is.
You always hate your top two bets.
Yeah, these two are just tough, but yeah.
That's always kind of the deal, though, right?
Yeah, it's always the deal. When you're betting on dogs, most of the time you're going to end up with some teams you don't really like, but we'll see how it goes.
There you go. That's all right. Usually pays off for you. So can't wait to hear your picks.
I'm looking forward to those as well. Well, we got the first comment of the day from Blake. He says, "Let's go, fellas." That's a way to start it off. So
yeah, absolutely.
Uncle Phil, where are we heading first today?
Yeah, look, a couple games that are I think people are going to be shocked that my first two picks are going to be non-SEC picks. Don't worry, though. My bonus pick is an SEC pick, so all is the world is still spinning on its axis. First place we're headed to Boulder, where Utah comes to visit. Not only is Utah coming off an extremely heartbreaking loss to BYU, which there was some controversy at the end of that one, but Utah just lost their third quarterback in that game. Not in that game, but their third quarterback they had for a season-ending injury. They're down to their fourth-string quarterback. Colorado's on a roll, very focused on winning the Big 12. I've got Colorado minus 13.5 as my first best bet. Second place we're going to West Lafayette, Indiana, where Penn State comes to visit Purdue. Look, it's a big side of about 28 to 29, depending on where you get it. A little too much for me, although Penn State typically covers that. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. So I'm going under 50.5 for my second best bet of the day.
Sweet. Looking forward to both those games, and I have your notebook here. I really like some of the plays I see, and the bonus pick's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How many do you have in there?
Yeah. Do what? I'm sorry?
How many do you have in the notebook?
Yeah, I have six plays, narrowed it down. Really, I had 19 total in my big board. Narrowed it down fairly quickly to 10. But, man, cutting it from 10 to 6 was really, really hard today to cut it down because there's a lot of games I like. I'm sure we'll discuss several of them here today. Hopefully I can help some people out. I bet some of them kind of coincide with what Smooth Andy's got as well. But, man, I like the slate of games today. Like I said, this is the time of year that typically works very well for me. because by this time of the year, I know the teams versus college and NFL, and this is where I typically make my most money. I make it at the very first of the year, and then kind of figure things out in September where we're going into conference games and early October. But by the time a couple of conference games have set in, I'm pretty much locked in and ready to roll. So excited about this. Like I said, I really like this college slate of games today, and I love tomorrow's NFL. And I know I keep saying that, but I keep winning. The past 4 out of 5 weeks in NFL, I've won, and I intend on winning again tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, I think everyone loves to hear that. I mean, and you've been having a hell of a last 3 to 4 weeks, so keep it up, Uncle Phil. That being said, let's go to Smooth Andy today. Where are you heading first, Smooth?
Well, I'm going to give you those 2 uncomfortable picks. Both of them are big dogs. The first one is Purdue, who I believe I had last week, I think against Ohio State, and they got demolished and didn't cover. I've had them earlier in the year and covered. They're not a good team at all, but this is just a spot and a situation where they're getting no bets. So I've got Purdue plus 30 at home against Penn State today. I'm hoping they can just hang around a little bit. My second one is equally uncomfortable, and this one is Wisconsin at home against Oregon, who's been just steamrolling the entire college football scene, and it's hard to step in front of these guys, especially when you're getting less than 2 touchdowns. In my case, with Wisconsin, I got them at 13.5. I think there might be some 14s out there, but I just had to pull the trigger on what I had. So that's where my 2 big bets today are. So good luck, everybody, Purdue and Wisconsin. And I've got, by the way, 13 more that I'm going to release on Twitter. So it'll be a two tweet betting slate today for me.
Sweet. Looking forward to watching those and looking forward to the rest of your picks to come out on X a little later after the show. First comment today is from Chris Peters. He says, I wonder if there's a correlation between how much Smooth Andy hates his bets and how often they hit. You would dive into that?
I don't think there is, to be honest. I hate most of my bets, honestly, man. I'm looking at teams that I'm just, oh God, I can't believe I'm betting on those guys again. But that's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of times you end up on a bad team who's playing a good team, and the good team isn't really maybe fired up to go in and play that team. They're just hoping to get it over with, not get hurt, not have to show too much of the playbook, that kind of thing. So you end up on some really crappy teams. I've never really tried to track it though to figure out if my hatred for a bet is I've never quantified it with like numbers or something. So that'd be an interesting question. But you're going to hate a lot of your bets if you're tailing me. That's just the way it's going to be. So.
Alrighty, well, thanks for the comment, Chris Peters. Next up, we got Blake on Twitter. He says, USC Nebraska over tonight. What do you guys think of that?
I know Smooth Andy's not a big over player, or total player, I guess I should say that. I'm looking at the total right now. It didn't come up on my on my screen as something that I would jump into, but let me take a look at it. Let's see. It's right now sitting at 51. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, to be honest with you. Look, I've got the side I do have a strong opinion on, and it's in my notebook. Look, I really like this game a lot. Like I said, I started off with 19 plays, whittled it down to 6. This game made my final 6. And like I said, I love this game, and I intend on making some money on it, but just not the other side of it, or not the total of it. I don't know. Smooth Andy, do you think this is going to be a high-scoring game or low-scoring game? Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't really want to weigh in. I wouldn't want to fill your head with noise that's not really relevant. I haven't really given it any thought. But
yeah. USC switch quarterbacks. We'll see how that ends up working out for them. Nebraska ended up making a change of their own. They brought in Dana Holgorsen as their offensive coordinator this week, calling plays. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out as well. So, like I said, for the 5,000 fans that are in attendance today at that game, I'm sure that they'll enjoy it. But I'll enjoy it from my couch a lot better.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the question, Blake. Next up, we'll go to Rob on Twitter. He says, "Great picks. How do you think of my Vols today getting 8.5?"
Look, if it's down to 8.5, that means obviously, there certainly was a move from when Nico Iamaleava cleared concussion protocol and made it to the game. I mean, that's driven that down. But I always thought that there was too many points for Georgia. Look, I'm not playing the game on the side. I'm playing the total. It's in the notebook. But on the side itself, if I were to play it, I'd play Tennessee. I just, Tennessee feel like they self-destruct. Look, I had Mississippi State last week plus the 24 points against Tennessee. Not because I thought Mississippi State would shock Tennessee. I just felt like Tennessee would make enough mistakes that would allow that game to stay close. And that's kind of what they did. Obviously, Nico going out made a difference as well. But if Tennessee can limit the mistakes, because you feel like with Georgia's running back ETN, with him out this week, and their freshman running back who fumbled last week twice against Ole Miss, you feel like that he's probably going to cough it up again this week, give you some turnovers. I think Carson Beck is certainly prone to give you at least one turnover as well. Certainly puts Tennessee in play. I wouldn't even be afraid to to sprinkle a little money on the money line for Tennessee. Look, Georgia doesn't lose at home, but Georgia hadn't fielded a team like this before. Problem with Georgia this year is out of ETN and Carson Beck, you don't really know who these guys are this year unless you're a diehard Bulldog fan. They just don't have any dudes that just stand out, that just jump out. I mean, look, they lost McCaffrey. They lost not McCaffrey, McConkey. They lost McConkey. They lost Bowers. They lost even their tackle, Mims. I think a lot of people knew that name. They just don't have any dudes. You just don't. I mean, used to they had Jalen Carter. They had Nakobe Dean. You had all these players that were kind of household names. And for whatever reason, they just haven't materialized this year or haven't yet. And you just don't know them. That's what's holding Georgia back this year. Look, if it weren't for the logo on their helmet, the spreads on these games would be a lot different. We thought they were playing a lot better when they played Texas, but it comes out Texas hadn't really played anybody. And I'm not sure how good Texas is to begin with. So, look, I like Tennessee, and if I'm playing the game, I wouldn't be afraid to play the side or the money line.
Awesome. A lot of Vols fans in the comments, even on TikTok. Can the Vols pull it off? What do you think about Vols money line? So they'll probably love to hear that from you, Uncle Phil. We'll take a question from TikTok from BV. He says, "Uncle Phil, is Wisconsin have a chance to upset Oregon or just cover the spread?"
Look, that is Smooth Andy. Smooth Andy, I will let you opine on that because, you're betting on it. That is one of your best bets for today.
Yeah, I would not. I'm not putting anything on the money line with Wisconsin. I'm just hoping they hang around. I'm hoping maybe they punch Texas. I'm sorry, they punch. I'm sorry, I'm losing myself here. Oregon in the face, and Oregon gets a little confused, and then they probably come back and win by 10 points or something. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. This number seems so low. Like, it just feels like Oregon's going to put up 70 or something, and it just feels so wrong to take Wisconsin. They're at home, that helps, but plus 13.5 against that Oregon team is a tough one. I would have expected the line to be higher, but it isn't. In fact, I think I read that the books are really, everybody's on Oregon, which is not unexpected. But what's unexpected to me, I think it opened at 11 or something, and it went up to 13.5, but they haven't hit 14 yet, or at least not across the board consensus. And that's a little bit surprising because you would think that the books would just keep ticking the number up until they got somewhere where they got some Wisconsin buyback. Maybe they got it at 13.5, but I'm guessing they probably didn't. And maybe they just kind of feel good about taking all the Oregon money. And that's usually, I love it when I'm on a side like that, if that's the case, that the book has said, look, we've already got enough value in this line. We can just stop right there and just keep taking money on the Oregon bet. Whether they win outright or not, I think that would be incredibly impressive. Wisconsin has not been a great team this year. I just don't see it, but stranger things have happened. So that's my opinion on that one.
Look, I had it in my big book. I took it off. It even made my final 10, and I really had a tough time cutting down from 10 to 6. I had Oregon. Look, I'm with Smooth Andy on this one. The line just seemed too low because, again, Oregon seems to do everything well that Wisconsin does bad. Oregon should be able to run the ball, which will set up play action, which will allow the linebackers to come up and get a little nosy, and they'll go deep, and the track meet will be on. I just feel like that Oregon is just going to crush them. I feel like Wisconsin's offensively challenged. I really do. I think Oregon takes care of business today, but I just don't understand the line. It does seem a little low to me. Look, I would probably be more apt to take Oregon if it were like 19.5. But 13.5, it's just a weird line to me. I stayed away from it. The only thing I thought of possibly is that Oregon has played like 8 games in a row without a bye, and this is it's just kind of a grind for them. So maybe this is due to be kind of a trip-up game. Look, they didn't exactly impress when they covered against Michigan a week or two ago. I know that one was tough to swallow for a lot of people who had Michigan plus the points on that one, especially Oregon ran it up at the end, scored a meaningless touchdown to anybody but who had Michigan in the points. But again, it would be Oregon or nothing for me.
Great analysis, guys. Let's go to the next question. We got Alex Penlan on TikTok. He says, he just said Arkansas with the question mark. Uncle Phil, what do you think of that game?
Look, I would take Arkansas. I have taken Arkansas a few times this year. Look, I'm a Hog fan. I think everybody knows that. But look, I've been wrong. This team doesn't seem to work out for me when I take them. I've kind of come to figure out what is Achilles' heel for the Hogs is that, look, Taylon Green doesn't do well against pressure, the quarterback for Arkansas. And if you can get pressure on him, then he kind of panics, and that's kind of a long day for them. And if you have an accurate passer, which Quinn Ewers is, then it's also a long day. The only Achilles heel for Texas, though, that concerns me is that, like I said, I'm not sure how good Texas is. I really am not. I just don't know how good they are. I mean, got, basically run out of their own place against Georgia. They, it got a little interesting in the second half, but for the most part, Georgia took care of business. We don't think Georgia's that good this year. They're not Georgia-esque. And Texas also, although they were the better team against Vanderbilt, they let Vanderbilt hang around. And so not real sure how good Texas is. Quinn Ewers is a different quarterback as well when he gets pressured. If Arkansas is able to get some pressure on him, he will not throw the ball accurate, and it could be a lot closer game than a lot of people see. A lot of the late money is coming in on Arkansas, which makes me think it's going to be Arkansas that they're going to cover. I have lost faith in Arkansas against quarterbacks that look like they're NFL-type quarterbacks, because that's who Arkansas seems to lose to, and lose in a big way. So I stayed away from it. I did take the total. That is in a notebook. I feel more stronger about that. But, like I said, the late money, which is typically the smart money, is coming in on Arkansas.
And I will chime in that to answer the question, Arkansas question mark. The answer is Arkansas exclamation point for me, because I'm gonna be on them plus 13.5. I'm delighted to find out that Uncle Phil is not on them, because usually he's been wrong about them this year. It used to be Clemson that he was always wrong on. If he took Clemson, they wouldn't cover. If he took the opponent, they'd never cover either. And it was just, he could get it wrong every week. And Arkansas Achilles heel this year. So I'm delighted to find out that it's not in your notebook today. So I am on Arkansas plus 13.5. No reason other than the usual, the numbers, not diagnosing who's a better quarterback against play action or defensive against play action or any of that kind of stuff. Just straight up numbers. And I don't mind that bet as much as I do some of the others, which mean I'll probably, they'll probably get beat by 30 because I feel okay about it. But to your point, Texas is not that great. Arkansas is just a frisky team who can kind of beat anybody in a given week. And I'm just hoping this will be one of those weeks.
Yeah, same too, man. We'll see how they do. Woo pig.
Pig, well, thanks for the question there. We got Victor Gadsden on YouTube. He says, "Hey, Uncle Phil, I've been subscribed to the Notebook for a few weeks now. Have you ever considered putting out a parlay, whether it be on X or even just in the Notebook in general?"
It's a good question. I thought about it. May start doing it. Look, parlays are the worst odds. I mean, it's like going to the casino and sitting down at slot machines, right? I take my Notebook record serious, doing really well there this year. And, if I put the parlay in, I'd have to qualify it and say, hey, this is just for fun, because I don't want that counting against my record, because look, it's going to hit occasionally, but for the most part, it probably wouldn't on parlays, or at least it's just kind of been my experience. So I've stayed away from it, but it's a good question. I've certainly entertained it and may do it as long as I qualify it, and say, hey, this is just for fun, nothing official, and do that. But, I appreciate the comment and certainly have thought about it. We'll give it some more thought. And thank you for subscribing to the Notebook. I really appreciate that. It's you and many others like you that enable me to do this, to do what I love every day. So thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Victor. Great question.
Yep.
Let's take one more before we wrap up. We got Apex from YouTube. Says Sun Devils at Kansas State. Where you guys stand on that one?
Smooth Andy.
It made my card. Only just, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. Well, I got three. It's a 3-indicator one this week. I've got Arizona State. I like getting the hook. I like being on a dog and getting the hook. It doesn't look like it should be a competitive game, but Arizona State has been, I think everybody remembers the Herm Edwards experiment there. I think they've gotten a little bit better since then, and they're playing above that level. Same with Washington State in the Pac-12 as well. Like, playing over their heads, even though they're in Washington State. I mean, they don't even have a conference anymore. They're still in the Pac-12 technically, but I mean, they're just by themselves out there, and they're putting together a really impressive year. So anyway, in this case, Arizona State, they're 7-2. They're at Kansas State 7-2. You can make an argument that Arizona State's maybe not as good of a team on paper, but I do like this one. I love getting a hook, even on a road game like this, with a sneaky good team against a pretty established good team that everybody expects to be, in a bowl game every year in Kansas State. So yeah, give me Arizona State today, plus 7.5.
Yeah, I looked at that game. Didn't make my big board or anything like that, but I did notice it. I did pause on it. Look, Arizona owns the all-time record 5-1 against Kansas State. Kansas State coming off a bye, very painful loss to Houston a couple weeks ago. We'll see what they look like off the bye. I didn't play it. Arizona State's got an injury. Their running back, not sure. I know he's questionable. I'm not sure what the health is of him for the game, but again, like I said, I paused on it as I was looking at lines, but not enough to, all those things I just spouted out just kind of went through my mind, but I didn't really, think about it beyond that. So sorry, I couldn't give you more help than that.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for the question there, Apex. That being said, we're about an hour and 5 minutes from kickoff and the early slate. Uncle Phil, Smooth Andy, any final thoughts before we take off for the day?
Smooth Andy?
Pray for me, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of these are going to be pretty white knuckle kind of games, but I'm hoping to look up and see Purdue somehow managing to stay within 29 points of Ohio State. I mean, of Penn State. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough week. I think I'm on all dogs this week, which is crazy. That might not prove to be entirely true when you get to the shorter ones, but yeah, it's going to be a tough day to be hanging in there. But I'm hoping to see some good signs early.
Yeah, I feel like that Purdue game is going to come down to the last minute, and Purdue's going to throw an interception, and Ohio State's going to be running for the end zone, and Purdue's going to trip him up at the 5, and that's the way the game's going to end, and you're going to cover. So I know that's the way it's going to end, and you're going to have good luck. But look, I'm excited about today. Look, I said I really like the lines today, and I really love NFL tomorrow. NFL just feels like shooting fish in a barrel to me right now. But anyway, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in. Please, for Matt, who produced the show, for Smooth Andy, please follow Smooth Andy at SmoothAndy5 on X. That's the only place he's at. I'm across all platforms. Thanks for the follow and the subscriptions to YouTube as well. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Let's go make some money today, and let's have a day. As always, guys, let's roll.
Stripe. Sound